Look, I pressed the back button, but it's okay because I'm flowing. I'm going to stitch this all together. We're just going to put this into a part two. Nothing's going to interrupt how I'm channeling. But I'm the one who has to take accountability on that level, that I have reached very like high frequency states where I'm doing all the things I want to do because my body has reached that higher operating level where I've broken past all the fuckery within this food, which is really weaponry that goes in my body and alters my genetics. This food is their biggest weapon. This so-called food, all these foods are being made in these labs, these science labs. They're being concocted and manufactured. These so-called foods, like, I'm trying to find a way to put it into words to get you to see the difference, that there isn't that much of a difference between toilet paper and Lucky Charms, because both of them was made by some white man or some corporation within these human being factories or any of these beings that invade, this low vibrational logical 3D system, because being in this 3D ecosystem of money and making all these solids within their factories, our planet has been brought down to this state, right? This is an artificial state. So within this system where they're manufacturing everything, they manufacture that toilet paper and all their laundry detergent and all these different things they make, right? All these things they can make. They make it with all these chemicals. And then they also make this edible form of solids called foods. And they can make it with whatever they want. And they put anything they want into these foods, and all it is a medium into your body. So the food is the biggest way to program you from the inside out. They can put anything in the food and they know how it alters your mind, your body, the way you think, your soul, everything about you. But on the deeper level, so-called Blacks, Latinos, we come directly from being in nature. Before they ever called us Black Latinos, we were in nature. We're the real so-called Native Americans. We're the real indigenous beings of every so-called landmass. In higher states, we literally feed on the sun. This isn't no bullshit I'm talking. I say it because I literally done it. And I would only plummet back down to lower states, mainly due eating this food and doubting the very shit I'm tapping into. But we literally feed on the sun. So-called Blacks, Latinos are carbonated beings. We can speak metaphysical science. Carbon being the base molecule of all life, because we are manifestations of life itself, and life has sprung from you, not the other way around. You are the soul. We are the universe, the universe, because it's you. Literally, break down the word. Universe. It's I and I within the I, because it's the I of God, the literal I. The I say is the real I am before any name. And that's the I we all say, because that's the I of God, Ashe. We are life itself, and everything around I has been sprung from I. In all eyes forms, within all the eyes that I see, who are eyes divine reflections. Peace reflection, I am you and you are I, universe. That is the reason I start off most of my videos on this channel with that. That's a divine whole activation light code I even put into that very little thing right there. Because I understand I'll play with these words and spark people's minds in a way. But I'll be losing my own energy, so I'll even be sleeping on my own self. But that'll be the thing. Like, I've risen within energy and sunken within energy so many times, even from 2020, where it's like I'm in this walking zombie state within everything I've woken up to, where it's like I'm in this like shocked sleeper cell state, where it's like I don't even feel alive. Like, the shit is like, but so many of the shit that I know is real deep in my soul. Like for example, I literally saw 2 suns in the sky, December 21st, 2020. Can't no one tell me shit. I remember walking in the house telling my mom, she's like, yeah, people are posting it all over Facebook. They said it's a filter effect. They said it happens and they made up a lie that quick. And how many of us were talking before December 21st about 2 suns? That was just one example of so many different things that literally shocked my whole world and put everything into a whole different energy of why I even move on this frequency so much. I had dreams of things happen months before they ever happened, for example. That showed me something that, like, I'm saying that as an example of, whoa, there's actually really something deeper within life. Like, I experienced so many things that pull me out of this state that I then fall back into, where I be doubting everything I tuned into. And I'm saying at this point, basically what I'm getting at is, within everything I tuned into, with the food being one of the biggest things, because when I break free from the food, that's when I'm then operating on a higher level to not be held down by anything and be in my God state fully, because I am a demigod. Even though I am the soul, so I'm what my species are, period, but I'm mixed. So my vessel has human being genetics. They are nowhere near our DEA, God genetics, Anunnaki gods, so-called blacks, Latinos, but I do have human being genetics. So within that, when I do I's work within breaking free from the food, especially the meat, it's a deeper thing because my ability to tune in, I'm still but I'll be in like a sleeper cell within my body because I have those human genetics and it's easier for me to be weakened from my energy side, like that energy soul side, right? I'm still always that, but I can be a little bit more numb. You feel me? For our pure genetic form people, like someone who's purely carbonated, for example, even though the food affects us all on any scale, you can just see the way they operate. They're always in a different energy of being pulled in their energy. For mixed beings, it's like we got an internal battle and we can be pulled out of that energy, be more in that energy that the white people operate in. You know, the energy that has them lacking the shit that we have. It's like we can, as mixed beings, we're the soul, so we're what blacks, Latinos are, but we're mixed, so we can lack a little bit of that energy, and when we eat the food, it pulls it even more, because it's the weaponry that's attacking all my species, that weakens all our energy, weakens all our DEA, because we have deoxyetheric acid, not DNA. Human beings, white people have DNA. They're animal hybrids mixed with a drop of our blood. When we take it back to the very simple basics, human beings, Caucasians, come from the Caucasus Mountains. There are animal hybrids made by our fallen brother Zeus, who goes by many different names: Satan, Yakub, Enki, and Lil. Over many different generations, many different things. He hides in same entity, same soul, but he'll go through many, like Odin, you know, with the Norse mythology, same shit of a thunder god. El. They were praying to a thunder god, sacrificing babies to a satanic thunder god. All these different religions, when you really look into it, that same entity, masked behind many different forms, he's that inner entity of the one who wants to be an external god, right? And he created a species. When we really start to explain this on a fundamental level and piece it all together, everything makes so much sense as to what really took place on this planet. Fuck all the gaslighting, fuck all the fuckery, fuck them controlling the narratives in the media and them telling their history, his story. Because my story is a mystery. My story, his story, history. Spells for the unconscious mind, in your face, playing in front of you. Literal witchcraft, and you won't believe a single thing I'll say while they tell you to die every day. Good morning to you, because you're dead in a dead state. So, within everything being said, right? Fuck their narrative of how they told it. When we actually understand what actually took place, it makes sense what really, because we weren't all slaves. Nowhere near any of us were slaves, you feel me? But we were enslaved on a global scale. So slaves on the plantation sense were just war prisoners. Because the real Native Americans, when we realized that was us in a higher frequency, as they were warring with us and taking the lands, they were pulling us out of the lands, casting spells on us, feeding us their food, all this shit they got us to indulge in and have us lose our ways and get pulled out. And just the more they destroy the nature, because we're directly in tune with nature, this is our realm. We feed on the planet. So the more they killed nature when they first invaded the planet in 1492 through portals in the Caucasus Mountains, this is why Christopher Columbus discovered a new world. Because they literally invaded our planet through portals in the Caucasus Mountains. And their time is their time. Time never existed on this planet. Time is an illusion. Time is a spell. You feel me? This is why it's only been within 200 years that they even got... If you really look at the world and don't let them tell you how they tell it, it looks like they just now started building up life. Like all these cities and towns it looks like y'all just got here. And y'all only just now started building up. It's like mostly nature and y'all got a little bit of an establishment, but y'all barely got any grip. If y'all been here for so long, y'all had all this time to do all this shit, and it's like y'all only just now started spreading out. Y'all spread out from 1492 when y'all came into the planet, and y'all started colonizing all my people, right? But initially, it was us who even civilized y'all, let y'all on the planet, the so-called Moors. Because I don't even trust that title y'all told us about ourselves. Because I don't even trust that they were really called the Moors. That's a translation within this English tongue that disconnects you from a higher truth of seeing them within a divided group instead of Anunnaki gods, carbonated beings, manifestations of the universe on higher forms. Within this physical body, we are in these bodies, but we are the universe in higher forms. And these bodies down here, we're in one form down here. We are life itself, the soul, Ashe. This is my planet, literally. But within the understanding what actually took place on this planet, right? And how these human beings are made in the image of my species. And the Bible is their creation story. Their creation story. So we understand that Zeus is their god, Satan, Yakub. And he spliced them using animal genetics, different animals that he killed in a drop of our blood and grafted them in our form. He made them to pray to him and enslave his own species. He made them out of hate and jealousy. So when we look at what took place on this planet, fuck how they told you how it happened. We understood exactly what really took place on this planet. Why they came and did everything they did to us. And then they try to group us all in and tell us we're all these human beings in their schools that they program us all with. And while doing that, they gaslight and show their energy of a flipped reality of telling us we were the savages. We were the ones that were closest to monkeys, you feel me? And I say that in an embodied we. You feel me? Because they will treat me just the same. And I have to realize that because I always wonder why I felt the energy of, I never fit in with them. I always felt weird when I was around them. I never really looked at it because I was so asleep, but all the people I naturally always resonated with, that I always had the deepest connection with, was so-called Black and Latino people, because they were the ones who have souls. We actually are on the same conscious level. We feel each other's energy. We're literally on the same energy level. Human beings are animal hybrids with a little bit of they have our consciousness, but they have a bunch of animal genetics and they're physical, logical beings. All they have is this 3D. They're logical beings, you feel me? So when human beings, so-called white people made in our image, operate through this world, they operate from a lower vibrational reality of ego. So when it goes to everything that took place on this planet with Zeus making them in our image, Zeus being Satan, our fallen brother, and in higher forms, we were literally giants, because the higher the frequency, the bigger you are. This is why they talk about global warming. The more heat, what is vibration? Again, metaphysics. We can break this down on the metaphysical divine science scale. What is vibration? When you vibrate, you create heat, aka heat is life. My planet was one big jungle. Cold does not exist. Man-made weather happens all the time. They just started telling you they can play with the weather. They've been playing with the weather. Just like they've been had AI. Just like they've been had almost all this technology that they've been had way before they push it out into the public, right? The government's been controlling this. The government is governmental, break down the word, but they've been controlling you with it, right? You feel me? So code is an illusion, and code is the absence of life. It's the slowing down of vibration. So when we talk about the vibration raising, higher frequency, higher vibration, the planet rising back up into its divine state, where do you think that's coming from? The heat. Where do you think that energy is pouring from? Plasma energy, the highest vibratory scale within solids, because it goes from solids to liquids to gas to the one above gas they never taught you about in their schools called plasma energy. Plasma energy is when gas vibrates a little faster. So plasma energy is the energy from the sun. It's soul energy. You can convert plasma energy into soul, the energy of the soul, like that star force, like that soul, like you feel me? Plasma energy is your thoughts. Plasma energy is the field that your thoughts vibrate at, because everything came from the thought. This is why everything comes from the thought, and then you can manifest it all the way down into the solid, because everything is energy, but it starts in the pure energy, the plasma realm, your thoughts, and you pull it from the plasma, from the ether, right? So we can break this again in metaphysical science. So the sun is plasma energy. It trickles down and feeds everything within the solids, but the sun was never even, the planet was never even in a solid state to begin with. But now that it's in a solid state, the energy trickles all the way down to the solid state. But the sun feeds everything on the planet, right? With higher forms of energy. Because everything is energy, and before you need to eat the solids to get the life force in the solids, we directly ate the life force in the same ways the plants eat the life force to give themselves the life force. We have to eat the plants or anything else. So when we are in higher forms, we eat life force through how you feel alive when you step outside. That's because you literally are feeling alive when you step outside. When you start to tune in on deeper levels and remove all the programs they told you, and you remove the food above all, because that's what tampers with your genetics, so-called Black and Latino man, so-called Black and Latino woman. When you tune into your planet, when you sit in the soil, when you feed on the sun, and you start to activate your body, a lot of this shit starts to not sound so strange, and it makes sense, and it makes a lot more sense than sitting and doing the weird shit. And you start to look at this reality as weird. You look at everything we were doing here as backwards. And you look at nature, it's like, how did I ever look at nature as the reverse thing when nature is the whole planet, and we're the ones cooped up in a house looking at nature like it's foreign, but we don't know how to live with nature? No, we came from living with nature. It's these human beings who taught us not to live with nature, because they aren't from our planet. Every behavior pattern they shows that they came and take our habitat. They need to build little things to block out the air, the habitat outside, the sun, everything. They don't like nature. They had to carve up and kill nature, eat the animals. Everything they did was a logical, physical, disconnected reality. One, because that has to do everything with the soul. So the whole reality of everything that emanates from the so-called white man and human being, and the way he interacted with the reality and they interacted with the reality, from the logical, making factories, making us into like a workforce, raping the resources, just looking at reality as something to extract, right? That literally comes from the ego state. That comes from the ego state, and that comes from the mission that Zeus created them in, which was the energy of creating this species to pray to me in our form. And then when they invaded our planet, it was, enslaving his own species and making an energy of extracting and turning our planet into something to feed him within his ego from our resources. So if you look at everything from a cosmic science scale outside of the Bible, it's like Satan is like this cosmic evil entity that's more like, if you don't even need to call it an alien, a higher vibratory life force with an evil intention that came to extract resources from one planet, when planets are planes of existence for beings to be on. You feel me? But so within all this being said, my point is that I've tuned in very deeply, right? Very deeply. I've only let myself fall back into sleep states, mainly due to eating the food. I'll let all types of shit get into me. Also the fact that I woke up within already being in this reality. So I was already within all this shit that was meant to help hold me down. I already grew up within the matrix, grew up within all these things around me that I was programmed with and deeply attached to and addicted to, like the food, like the technology, like being in the system around all these things that drain my energy. So it was already pre-set up for me to be in a drained, fallen, defeated state, right? But me waking up within that and now trying to pull my energy away from all that and pull my energy into myself, it's like a battle of back and forth from a higher energy to lower energy, getting my power back, feeling good for a second, feeling good for a bit, then falling back into a lower state from something. And it's been like that for a bit, but within everything, I've still tuned in very deeply to a point where no matter how many times I fall back into a low frequency, once you prove this shit and you do it, that stays in your soul. Like that sits there. Like the energy I've poured into everything I've done and that I've proven, it doesn't go away. You feel me? And that's why I move and stand as hard as I stand, because I'm literally standing divinity. As in, like, I'll literally be alive when I should be dead. Like, that's the level of things I've tuned into. Like, let them tell anything of what they told us about what our bodies are. So this is why I speak so confidently, even though it might sound stranger than fiction, about what my species are and how we eat the energy of the sun and how we eat fruits and stuff, because I've done it. Like, I've actually done it, and it's the best I ever felt when I do it. But then I'm so addicted to the food, and that's a testimony to how addicted this food is, that I'll choose to, in defeated states, go back and be in a weird sleep reality, wow, literally proving divine shit. So I'll sit here and fall in a state defeated in myself, wow, having all this energy in the grasp of my hand, feeling so good and almost getting everything in accordance and in balance. But then meanwhile, while all that's going on, I got all these sentient programs and this energy of the people or the energy I'm in the house I'm in. And it's more so a thing of within age and within how the system works and the way the physical works within the body I appear in, just how logical, regular world works. I'm 22, I'm a man, I gotta move out the house. But before all this and just the energy of life in general, my whole life leading up to this, I've been around an energy that I had to be around that basically was very not good for, did not make me feel good in my soul and my experience in life for a very long time. Like, it blocked out a lot of good shit for me, and it just had me feeling in a very low state. It's kind of like being the end of a butt joke. It's like, so I got spit on and beat up energetically for a very long time. And the moment I'm 18, 19, 20, all the abuse, all the toxicity, that all just goes to the thing. Now it's just, you're old, you gotta leave, get out. But I don't be talking from an energy of just me. I be talking just to talk of just saying things for, I don't need to be something to call out this war going on and how people are dying in the war. Like, I'm just saying, if you're going to call out something that's happening in life, you can just call it out because you're just describing something that happens in life. So if I'm describing the energy of outside of me being in the state I'm in, of the age I'm in, of meaning to blah, 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 I would just call out things just to say them as they are, of the actual shit that isn't okay to be happening no matter what, the actual messed up energy, and just be messed up energy, you feel me? But I be pulled way deeply into that. And I have a natural warring energy in my soul, like a natural fight energy in my soul. And a lot of that within most of my life was geared and aimed towards my mother, just because I don't like when energy, one thing I don't like is when things are denied to my face. And so it'll be a thing of like, it'll be an energy of trying to like pull something out of someone and get in this ego battle about shit that happens to me and people not even admitting it. And that's one of the biggest reasons I even care so much to argue. I wouldn't care so much to argue if someone wasn't lying and gaslighting me, making me feel like I'm the one tripping the whole time. But within the energy of that being how it isn't even for any of that, you feel me? Because I can already feel something in the background amping up. I'm not for any of that. I'm not for any of that energy. I'm not doing it for any of what they see or any of what they think right now. Because if y'all hear anything in the background, it is what it is. I'm generally just trying to get my thoughts out. And that would be a thing of, I can't even speak out loud in the way I want to speak without it being such a thing of feeling it. Oh, okay, never mind. It wasn't about me. So good. Okay, but, yeah, just be a thing of, like, I just be way too pulled into, like, you feel me? Trying to go again, and mostly a lot of it too is just being annoyed, like generally just annoyed, like having. This is what I mean by now that I'm 22, it's like, oh, get out, blah blah. But most of my life, most of the argument, most of the shit came from me not being able to get away yet, and me wanting to get away, but having to just sit here and sit around. And before I even smoked, so I was way more in tune with it, and I felt it a lot more because the weed numbed it out. It would just be hearing the yelling, and it used to be a lot worse. The yelling and the arguing, the bickering every single day, because it's the same way it is how it is now. It's been like that 20 years. For as long as I can remember, because I'm the oldest, it's been like that. So it drives you almost to a level of insanity, because it literally has been like that in a toxic cycle with levels of how toxic it gets, with now being one of the calmest. So that same energy has just been there within energy that actually, even though it wasn't horrible or super abusive or anything, it's still just an energy of just something that you don't want to be around, that just drove me on edge and drove me in a very annoyed state. And then the state I get in, as a result of all the toxicity I'm around, it's like if you're this fish that's in this toxic lake, and then you start glowing and all these radioactive symptoms, and then they point at you and they're like, ew, this ugly fish, look at it, it's disgusting. But then y'all are the ones who filled my lake with all these pollutants, and filled me with all this garbage, and filled me with all this shit. Let me be in a clean lake where I can swim around, and y'all ain't even around me, and y'all swear I need to be like, I'm using that as a metaphor just to say, because I generally just, you feel me? Like, all I want is a chance to express myself within my own energy outside of the toxic state I'd be pulled into, within my own energy of how I interact with life. And I'm going to get that very soon. You feel me? Because that way I am with life outside of the energy I've always poured into this black hole with my own mother within the toxic relationship we have, the energy I have with the actual being I am, I generally be in such a peaceful, calm state. Like, I don't beef with anyone. Even the closest energy I got into now, being this much outside myself, I'm still very in tune with the energy I've always been, which is just a very just chill, calm state. Like, I just be chilling. I don't bother anyone. I really don't do much. You feel me? I just be focused on what I want to focus on. And the only thing I do is I don't back down and have people step over me, and I have a lot of energy in me of like, you feel me, standing for myself and respect and just all that shit that always existed, that carries over the boundaries of the false toxic relationship of parental respect that's supposed to drown out any energy for just a healthy relationship within a person, outside of any title of child and adult split, you feel me, or just any type of split. But so I basically got most of what I want to. Actually, nah, I'm gonna just go somewhere else because I still got a little bit I want to get out, and it's not within the energy of anyone thinking it's for them. Hold up, I gotta grab some. Where did But so yeah, within that energy of that, basically I'm just saying, like, now's the time to really tune in. Now's the time to really lock in. Like, above everything else, like, I proved my divinity. Like, I proved what I can do with this fruits and everything I tuned into on a higher scale, even past the fruits. Like, basically I proved a higher evolved state, or the truth of that higher state that my body is, the God species I am. All this stuff within the spiritual journey, all this stuff I tune into within this God talk, within the Anunnaki God I am, the higher truths of life, the esoteric, the divine, all these higher truths, this higher spiritual knowledge, this higher energetic knowledge, right? I proved a lot of it on some scale, on some level. And within proving it on some scale, on some level, proving it in some form, right? Within proving it in some form, right? One thing that I proved, the biggest of all, that I made 100% real, is this fruit reality. Is the reality of the food and how it isn't anything we've been told, and how it's actually hurting my body, attacking my body, weakening my body when I eat any of this man-made food, and how I'm really only addicted to it, and that's the thing that has me eating it at this point, because it doesn't have any type of actual requirement in my body anymore, because I've broken that. I feel way better, and with it, everything I tune into on the other side once I break through the food wall, because every time I eat it, I get locked into that food reality, and I gotta break through that Lyco lockdown, break through that low frequency again, depending on how low my frequency fell from how much of the food I ate. Because every time I cleanse from this food, I start rising up in frequency, and the longer I go from it, the more in my power I am, the more I'm shining, I'm glowing, the more frequency and life force and energy I have. And when I eat the food, it's always the same shit: losing my power, falling back in a low state. You feel me? Getting pulled back into a 3D physical, low vibrational, locked in, dead state. You feel me? Having my energy stole from me. So the food's the biggest weapon. But within breaking free from the food, I then gain a level of freedom, of movement, of being able to move around in my planet and move to the accordance of no man. Like, I don't have to bend to anyone's will, bend in accordance to anyone. Like, the levels I can tune into when I tap in, you feel me, carry me past any limiting concept within this matrix that would have me locked down within the money system, within having to be bind to one location, bind to one place. I can move freely now when I tune into that level. Like, when it is, if it is, as it is, I tune into that higher frequency, that breatharian type frequency where I'm running on the air, super loose, super light, able to move freely, not binded by, you feel me? Because if you don't have food to worry about, you don't have to worry about drinking water and shit, and you're eating and drinking from the air, from these higher energies, tune into that level, eating the sun, running on these higher energies of life, you can go anywhere and you're sustained. You can go anywhere and life guides you, life fills you, life keeps you going, life powers you. So when I break through all these false constructs, when I break through all these false programs, and I gain my power back through this false state, mainly my ego is the thing that identifies with all the programs within the fear state of being scared to break through the other side, and being actually in belief of anything they told me about the food or any of the shit they told me about what I need. Once I break all that and fully break it and I'm fully in my God state, it's over. And that's what I'm saying. Now it's time to really take this all serious. I've been holding myself back, taking this shit like a joke, holding back, acting like I got forever to tune in. No. Now is really time. The energy's been amping up, and the people that are around me, within the house that I'm in, with the way the energy is, it's not going good, you feel me? Like, this matrix is gearing up towards me in a way that it's already been, but it's getting more and more hostile towards me, you feel me? And it's not just the matrix and the woo-woo. It's generally just a thing of also just the way that the state of the planet is, you feel me? My mom being in her natural state of just not understanding anything I'm tuned into, and I don't need her to, because even though I'm actually doing it, the shit sounds spookier than fiction, you feel me? And if you're not the one actually doing it and you're programmed in that reality, I don't blame you. Like, I don't blame her for, you feel me? To her, everything is Earth within that 3D reality, and she doesn't know anything of what I'm talking about. Even as much as I might talk about it, it sounds like a bunch of crazy shit to her, and she has no idea what I'm tuned into. You feel me? And that's why I just need to fully break away from that last biggest thing that's been attached to my soul. This last biggest matrix attachment, my family, my mom, just all the shit that binds me to my old identity, and fully step into my higher self. I'll have nothing holding me back. I'll be able to just move freely. I won't have to answer to no one. You feel me? I'll be running on this higher energy, my higher purpose, my higher path. Running on this journey, you feel me? Moving in divine energy, you feel me? And within that being said, it's time to really tune in. That's first going to start with me fully breaking free from this food, converting fully into a eating the air, breatharian state within this higher energy and my higher self. And so, yeah, I got to fully convert into my